I'm here for ice sailing and seeing old friends. In Finland, ice sailing started roughly 100 years ago or even more, when the seal hunters used boats on the ice of the Gulf of Bothnia while going out for hunting seals. They noticed that they can travel faster on the ice in winter with their boats rather than pushing by raising the sails, and then they made special-made keels and sides on the boats, and that's how ice sailing has happened in Finland since a very long time already. The sport of ice sailing has started in the early 1900s in the US. Hudson River was an area where quite a few ice sailors were gathering. Big boats, tens of square meters of sail area and crews of 5-7 sailors on each boat. And this was at the time the fastest way of moving. There was no faster way. It was faster than the existing trains at that time. And that it was a spectator sport. Then a couple of really disastrous crashes resulted in that the popularity of ice sailing dropped for a few years. Then the big recession hit the US, and in 1937 the Detroit News newspaper came up with a competition for the unemployed people to do something at home. They asked for proposals for a one-man ice yacht design. And the design that won was then called the DN, Detroit News DN class, and that's the one that we sail. It's the most widely spread ice yacht class on the planet at the moment. There are also a few other ice yachting classes, but this is by far the most widely spread. That was in 1998 when Finland was hosting the World Championships in ice sailing, DN ice sailing. My wife and I were watching TV and it was on the sports news, and she proposed that why don't we start this, and that's how it started. I built 2 ice yachts, one for her and one for myself, and one for my father-in-law, in fact, the following summer. My wife sailed a couple of years, but she requires sunshine, perfect ice, and you know, I sail in any weather possible when you just can sail, and so I stuck with the sport. She is now into horse riding. This group of people are really, really, really helpful. Like when you come in as a newcomer, you get a lot of help. Of course, not during the race. Nobody helps you during the race. But when you finish the race, everybody comes and tells you, why did you do so? You should have done so and so. Even today, one of these old timers came and told me that your start it sucked. You should have done so and so and so. So it's very easy to get into the sport. You will have 13 mentors in every race. I sailed anything before I started sailing an ice yacht, and I still do not sail on soft water. I do have a dinghy, but last summer I never put it on water. So I only sail on hard water. It's an absolute extreme sport. The speeds are really, really high. The acceleration is beyond what you can imagine, and you get to go outdoors for an entire day. So you get a lot of fresh air, and these guys that we sail with, the entire international ice sailing community is really good. So it's good to meet old people, not old people, but old friends, but most and first of all, it's the speed and acceleration. This is the traditional season opener regatta, and it's always been an international regatta with the top sailors from all over the world participating. And now, due to the outbreak, it's turned out to be only a Finnish regatta this time. It's called the All Saints Regatta because it's always been arranged on the All Saints weekend, the last weekend of October. But now we are in the second weekend of November, and this is a result of the climate change. So we still keep the old name All Saints Regatta for this season opener, even though it's sailed later. Well, it started yesterday for us, and this is now mid-November. Earlier, it has been possible to start it at late October, and last regattas we sail at the end of March, early April. The Finnish Ice Sailing Association arranges 6 regular regattas, and then we have a Finnish championships on top of that. So it's 7 weekends that go for this during one winter. Yeah, the World Championships are sailed every second year in the US and every second year in Europe, and then the European Championships are sailed every year in Europe. So I've been participating in these championships since 10 years back every year. So it's 1 week of pure joy, just sailing. Okay, first of course, a lot of things happen before the race. People start sharpening their runners already in May. And I have been painting my plank in July, and I know people have been working on their yachts the entire summer. So the season starts long before the first start comes. And it usually is also quite normal that somebody comes with a little bit wet paint on their yacht when they come to this season opener because they have started so late. However, when the actual race day starts, we gather on the ice, we have a skipper's meeting where we go through the ice security, whether there are holes or some special cases, stones, whatever you can have on the ice, so everybody knows where it is. The organizers have checked the ice and sailed it through before this race starts, so the information is then given to all the sailors. Then we have a lottery of starting positions. The starting positions are given out in such a way that the even numbers start to the right, which would be the starboard, and the barboard, and the odd numbers start to... Sorry, now I mixed it. Odd numbers start to starboard, even numbers start to barboard, and to port. And then after the start goes on, we have a track that has 2 marks. There's an upwind mark and a leeward mark, and the track is sailed counterclockwise. So the ones who start to the left, which would be now the port, they have to do tacks, I think, to get to the leeward mark, whereas the other ones only can do 1 tack. This is tactically very important because if you get to start to the right, you have 1 less tack and you come with right of way to the upwind mark. So this is parts of the joys. Or once we pass the upwind mark or the leeward mark, you make 3 turns around the track, and then it's just first to get to the goal wins. Now today I think the about 90 kilometers an hour. I get the top was sailing at that speed. My personal record is 103 kilometers per hour, and I know that there has been the world record is something like 148 kilometers per hour. But that requires special type of ice and very strong winds. But in races and regattas like this, you typically get the top speeds because the track doesn't allow for long periods of time in full side wind. So you either go upwind or downwind, and that doesn't give you the maximum speed. I think what we had today is very close to the optimal. We could have had a little bit less water on the ice, so black ice, which is very even, that we did have today. It should be a bit moist. You should have about 0.5 centimeter of water on it for minimum friction, and then about 6 to 7 meters per second wind. And that's what we had today. Sun is of course always nice, but in winter in the Nordic countries it tends to be quite low above the horizon. And typically, because we sail around the track, there will be parts of the track when you will sail against the sun. And I personally consider that a safety problem because you can't see the guys in front of you. So better like this, when you have overcast day, you can see clearly in all directions. So this is quite close to perfect today. Yeah, this is important to understand that we sail only on natural ice. It's not possible to sort of make artificial ice, or even if you have a snow cover on a lake, you can't remove enough of snow to arrange this kind of a regatta. So you need to have snow-free natural ice. And because that's a requirement for the regatta to work, the sailing season is planned beforehand so that all the weekends when we sail are set. And then on Thursday night by 6 p.m. The venue is announced by the organizers of that specific regatta. And then we all go where the regatta is. So the time is specified, place is not. And this has been like this since the start of the sport. So on Thursday we know where to go. An extreme case of this is the World Championships a few years ago. I was sailing with my brother-in-law, and we were planning. Still on Wednesday they didn't have a location for the World Championships, but we decided we knew that it's going to be south from Finland because it's not going to be in Finland. So we went to southern Finland. There was a lake, so we sailed for a couple of days waiting for the decision. There was no decision. Then we heard rumors from Sweden that they had perfect ice in Sweden, so we started looking for ferry tickets to Sweden. But just before we got tickets bought, the decision was made, and the regatta was on Lake Balaton in Hungary, 2,420 kilometers of driving. And so we started and we drove to Hungary and had a great regatta.